All right, people, let's have a look at this roll between Fab and Jacob. Fab on the bottom here. We'll look at it mostly from his point of view. So starting off in a seated guard here and going towards a supine when we feel like we're in danger, getting back to a seated guard. Good job posting here, but we can start adjusting our position a little bit to avoid being stuck in a position like this where our knees are together and we've kind of lost this inside knee position, or outside foot position rather. So what I mean by that is when we're starting off here in a seated guard, as soon as Jacob cross steps and starts getting to this angle, not a bad idea to go towards a supine position so that we can extend this right leg out and start blocking our partners stepping around here. And then we go back into this seated guard position. Now, something that we could do if we wanted to make a connection and play an outside guard position is while we're sitting back up here, we could start to make grips on Jacob's wrist with a 2-on-1 or something like that. And then when we fall back to our back, we can start using our grips to pull our partner in and get our feet to the outside position where we can start playing guards. Then what happens here is we choose to get all the way back to a seated guard, and we're doing a good job posting with our hand and shifting backwards, but you can see that our shoulders are behind our hips, which means it's difficult for us to threaten wrestle ups. It's difficult for us to enter a shin on shin single X. And it's just generally more difficult to off-balance our partner or be offensive from this position where our shoulders are behind our hips. And as a result, we're kind of forced to our back again. And then Jacob times a kind of sideways movement and starts threatening our guard here. So as a rule of thumb, try and keep your shoulders in front of your hips whenever you're playing a seated guard so that we're not relying too much on this hand here, and we'll be able to lean forwards and use our feet inside our partner's feet as well as our hand fighting to off-balance our partner a little bit more. But in this position here, we choose to go to our back, which is a good response when we start feeling under pressure from a seated guard and we're leaning back too much. But a goal should be to get to outside position. So if we bring this right foot to the outside, that means that we have potential De La Riva or K-guard attacks, and we also have that foot in front of us, and we prevent our partner from moving forwards because of the threat of closed guard. Whereas in this position where our right foot's going to the middle and we're forced to play into this half guard position, we're just in a more difficult to defend spot very early on. And in a position like this, when we're on the bottom here, the first thing I think about when I'm defending in this half guard knee shield, particularly a low knee shield, is moving my partner's head to the inside. So as soon as somebody starts collapsing my knees together, if I can use my left hand to reach back and basically collar tie on the far side of his head to move his head towards the inside, that means that we're not dealing with as much crossbody downwards pressure, keeping our back stuck to the mat, and instead we can turn more on our side, hip escape backwards, and start thinking about recovering our bottom leg, or at least hand fighting this arm a little bit more effectively. Whereas when Jacob does a good job of sticking this crossbody position, it's good that we're not getting our top elbow separated away from our body, but it is difficult to deal with this crossbody position here, and pushing the head towards our hips can buy us some time here, but we're in a little bit of a difficult situation here. So maybe a good idea is to use that right thumb of Fab's inside the elbow here so that we can think about separating Jacob's grips a little bit. But this is a hard spot to deal with. So we're up on our elbow here. We've done a good job at creating some height, which gives our off balances more potential for success, but you can see that we're kind of getting stuck down here on the bottom, almost in a half guard chest to chest type position. But coming up onto this elbow is a good idea. Blocking our partner running around is a good idea. And in this position where the head's on the outside, it's a little bit difficult to prevent our back being stuck to the mat. So most of the time in a spot like this, if we can get their head to the middle, that would be good. But otherwise, building height like Fab is doing here is a very good idea. Gives us the option of starting some off balances. At least we regained our half guard a little bit there, but we are stuck in a chest to chest position. So when we do have this right hand on the mat here, right about here, this might be an opportunity for us to kind of hip in towards our partner. But in a situation like this, we should be thinking about trying to free our bottom leg so that we can build height, which is obviously easier said than done. Jacob's got his hands linked together, does a good job of controlling our hips and putting our back on the mat. Now, in a spot like this, where we're half guard chest to chest, there's a few things that we can think about, but again, I would be trying to put my partner's head to the inside of my body at all times so that we can free our back up a little bit to be able to move sideways. But going to a lockdown is a very good option. Once we have the lockdown, we should be trying to extend our legs a little bit to add some tension to the lockdown. And then we can use our lockdown to start gaining some underhooks or upper body controls. But Jacob does a good job of sprawling off the lockdown, which isn't actually what I would do on top. I would try and kind of stay chest to chest there and use my other leg to unhook the lockdown so that I could not have to sprawl all the way back here. But that gives Fab a little bit of space on that sprawl to start getting this right knee free. And he's using his left foot as this kind of Casoto hook type prying hook, which is really handy because when Jacob starts extending the leg away from that pry style hook, there is an opportunity to insert a butterfly hook. But now we're basically dealing with a body lock pass here, so Fab's doing a good job of pushing the head away. In terms of ways that I would push the head away, I would most likely try and use my left forearm with my elbow above the trap and my hand kind of below the nose here, and try and keep my forearm relatively vertical, try and link my hands together, get onto a hip and see if I can make use of this butterfly hook to try and move my partner's hips this way as I get as onto a hip as possible so I can move my hips the opposite direction and hopefully pop their head off and separate their grips. But what we're doing with our left leg here is good idea by Fab, kind of just staying a little bit connected, trying to look for an opportunity to potentially get a butterfly hook in, and we're using our right butterfly hook to hip escape against. And you can see that Fab's almost doing that forearm position that we were talking about, but ideally we'd keep our forearm a little bit more vertical on the side of the neck here so that our elbow doesn't end up underneath our partner's chin, which will make it much harder for us to use that frame effectively. But we're still doing a good job at building height, at least when we're on the bottom, if we're building height, we have a better chance of off balances. So even if you're not sure what to do, start building some height. But I would say as a rule of thumb, when dealing with these difficult smash positions, try and bring your partner's head into the middle so that they don't have this crossbody angle. Because if we do start turtling or turning, then our partner is that much closer to getting their ear behind our shoulder blades and potentially threatening the back. And then here we're not having very much fun in this position, but that's okay. It's not always meant to be fun. So here, getting eaten up basically. Our ankles are past, our knees are past. Jay's doing a very good job of controlling our hips, but really nice job by Fab building that height. And this is what I was talking about with those off balances here. Good opportunity for this reverse butterfly sweep. You can see that Fab's knee is not facing to the left there, it's facing towards the camera a little bit more, so this left foot's in a reverse butterfly position, which is a very strong position to sweep. And it's basically what Alex Volkanovski did against Makhachev extremely well, and we see a lot more of that in the modern no-gi game now. So dealing with a smash pass, dealing with a situation where our knees together, if we do manage to build height, we can get up onto an elbow, we can start freeing our bottom leg, and that gives us the best chance of using this reverse butterfly hook to off-balance our partner, and in this case, even sweep and get to the top. So now Fab straight away on the offense and looking to power knee slice, get towards this north-south position. Good job tucking this left hand behind or in between the armpit and the hip, and then Jacob does a good job at turtling and Fab looking for this attack. So let's slow this down a little bit and break it down. And what I would say strategically is we've already had maybe 2.5 minutes on the bottom dealing with some good pressure by our partner. So it might be a good idea strategically to try and slow this position down a little bit. Now, Fab, I won't tell you how old Fab is, but it's impressive that he is moving the way he is. And what I would think about once I get to the top position is just composing myself, catching my breath a little bit. And maybe that's why I'm not such a great competitor, but it's an option to kind of head into some more inside camping type position and take advantage of the fact that we do have some top position and we can use that to wear our partner out a little bit. But power knee slicing with a scoop grip, nothing wrong with that either. And we start getting into this north-south orientation and our partner is forced to turtle. Now, when they're forced to turtle, maybe we were thinking about the Kimura grip from that north-south position, which I know is a move which Fab likes to do. But when our partner is turtling, we want to slow that rotation down as much as possible. Fab's actually doing a pretty good job with the elbows and tricep in the back of the ribs here, slowing that rotation down. A good thing to try and do here would be for Fab to kind of sling himself into a bottom hook position, so Fab's right leg trying to scoot underneath the hips. And because Jacob has been forced to turtle and the elbow in this case is slowing us down, that means that we're forced to scissor our legs quite in an exaggerated way, and then we lift our hips off the mat, and there's an opportunity for our partner to put either a hook in directly or a knee in to start reserving some space for their hooks. So what a better way to do this would be to try and use our hand on the hip. So if we go to this spot right here, you can see that as soon as Jacob starts turtling here, it is good to start attacking this arm, but it's going to be difficult to control the arm and look for any kind of armbar or Kimura grip while the hips are moving so fast. So if we can use our left hand to kind of cup the hip bone here, that can help us reposition ourselves behind our partner a little bit more and give us more time and a little bit more space because of our extended arm to think about sliding that bottom hook in. But Fab does a good job of wrangling him over and attacking this far side arm. And in a position like this, you can see that it was a bit difficult to control the hips, and that allowed Jacob to like swing one way and then the other and free that elbow. So when we're getting after this arm here and our partner starts turtling, it might be a good idea to think about attacking the turtle by sliding our right knee in between the armpit and the hip of Jacob so that we can start using our left foot to Casoto hook this ankle and looking to take the back, particularly because we have good control of the far shoulder. Alternatively, we could look to get our left knee in and start attacking a crucifix or something like that, but it's going to be hard to catch a clean Kimura grip when our partner's hips are so mobile and they're able to bring that elbow down to the mat. Ideally, to keep this position, we'd have our chest positioned very low behind our partner's tricep, but it will be difficult to do that in such a dynamic position here. But really good job diving those shoulders down below the knee here and kind of cooking our partner in this north-south chest-to-chest spot. You can see that we have that tight waist underneath our partner's back, and this is another spot where I might try and cook my partner a little bit more. We've got a really good ability to stop our partner from turtling with our right hand underneath the hips. We could try and flatten our partner back out to that north-south spot and make this turtle a little bit slower, making it easier for us to time our guillotine attack or our front head attack more effectively. So here we're starting with some front head attack, and we go to circle around to the back, and our partner does a good job at rolling out. So as a general rule, whenever we're attacking front head, it's good to try and drive our partner's weight back so that their butt is more on their heels and they have a little bit more weight down. We still want their elbows on the mat most likely, but when we are attacking front head, if we do decide that that attack is unlikely to be successful and we want to circle around to the back, then trying to get our right knee in behind the armpit can be a good option. Basically, we're trying to beat this elbow, either our right knee or our left knee. Some people would even use the arm that they're attacking the chin strap with to get behind this elbow, which I don't prefer as much. But I think if we just think about getting a knee or an elbow behind a knee behind their elbow before we circle to the back, then we're much less likely to lose the top position here and prevent our partner from trying to roll into this guard position here. So Fab does a good job of then following up and attacking the turtle here. But this is another spot where maybe there's some repositioning going on here. This is another spot where we could try and get our knee in between the armpit and the hip. That's something that I'm almost always looking to do just as a way of wedging our partner open it. And you can see that Fab kind of did that in the opposite order. So in this case, he's going left foot as the Casoto hook, and then he thinks about sliding his right knee in towards that knee wedge. But if we put our right foot in as the Casoto hook first, and we don't have that knee wedging their thigh there, then it means that our partner is much more able to roll through and start attacking our leg from this double outside position, which Jacob does a very good job of doing. And in a spot like this, I would immediately be trying to bring my chest up forwards over the top of my partner's so that I can hand fight. And another reason why bringing our chest up and kind of folding over the top of this thigh would be good is because it prevents our partner getting this shin back in front of our body where they can use it to create more space and potentially upgrade their leg configuration. Jacob's doing a very good job of controlling our leg and looking for that outside heel hook. He's got a good dig. You can see Fab's thinking about kind of uncrossing the legs there, which may not be the most successful way of getting out of that. Generally just trying to fold forward. I think later in this roll, we'll see another example of that. So here Fab starts on top, looking to control the ankles here, thinking about some passing options. Got some excitement happening, and now looking to get around for this X-pass, Toriander style pass, which he does very well, and our partner's doing a good job at recovering and framing, getting to this kind of lat trap spot, but it shouldn't be too much of a concern. Nice job keeping the chest down here, right knee pointing into the hip to prevent that bottom knee and elbow, moving into this north-south position here, and we've got a lot of good things going on here. So we've got the head and the arm almost trapped. That hand is a little bit stuck, but no big deal. We've got the ability to use our left hand over the top to control the hips like Fab is doing now. We've got our right hand almost as a top leg thigh pry to prevent our partner from turtling. We can start looking for Kimura grips here, but I think hopping off and looking to spin around to the back is a little bit premature. We could again just cook our partner a little bit more here, and you can see that pattern happening again where Jacob is turtling and we're kind of reaching for this far arm instead of using our left hand to control the hip, which can help us slow our partner's rotation down. And even if we can't get a hook in, we can get a knee in on the far side and give ourselves a better chance of attacking the back with a good amount of success. But I like the way that Fab's kind of switching between looking for the back on the arm and then attacking the front head straight away. And in this case, does a bit better job of getting the knee behind the elbow before we circle to the back. But in this spot here, especially when our partner has already rolled through on us once, we might want to think about getting our right knee in a little bit deeper into that pocket. And instead of going for a Casoto hook where we put our foot in between the legs, we might instead want to use our foot to step on top of the Achilles or use our shin to pin that leg down. That might just keep us a little bit safer from this roll through attack. But you can see that in this situation, Fab has done a much better job at keeping his chest high and his hips high, and is able to suck that foot back. And then we start being able to smash our partner's guard. Now here we're reaching for the head, which kind of gives our partner a chance to get back onto our legs. So let's slow this down a little bit. So Fab does a very good job of getting his foot back with a combination of hand fighting and some height building with that right knee. He's got his chest up nice and high, and then we find ourselves in this position here. So the way that our partner is most likely to recover from here is by bringing that left knee to the other side of our body so that this shin can be across our waist, and then that will give us or give them some options to start recovering their guard and maybe re-attacking this leg here. So almost always from a position like this, I would just think about keeping my chest down very low on top of our partner's knee and trying to point this top knee towards the mat so that we can more effectively smash their knees together and towards the camera. And then while we have that chest pressure down, we can think about getting towards some underhooks. And I think underhooks are better than trying to control the head, because when you see, you can see that when we are controlling the head, our partner is able to use their hands in our armpits and start getting some separation here. Whereas if we can pay a little bit more attention to collapsing their upper body frames and prevent them from that extension, then we are more likely to be able to sprawl our leg back here and not leave the back of our knee exposed and potentially grabbable there. So here Fab chooses to roll through and start trying to get out of this spot, but Jacob does a very good job of catching that knee bar. And I think we will leave it there for this round after a shake of the head from Fab. So hopefully this helps. If there are some takeaways from this video, thinking about building height from the bottom position, think about these seated guard positions at the beginnings of your rounds where, yes, it's good to go back to a supine guard here. This in-between spot where we're doing a sit-up is difficult, so maybe we want to think about making some grips on our partner's wrist so that we can pull them in towards an outside position and start attacking things like K-guard or De La Riva, and trying to avoid being duck in this position where our shoulders are behind our hips here, so either scooting backwards aggressively or getting towards the outside position quickly. And outside position would have saved us from these spots here, which Fab ended up doing a very good job at recovering from by building height on this bottom elbow and trying to get his bottom leg free using that top leg as a reverse butterfly sweep. And then if we think about another theme in this video, it was when our partner is turning away from us, if we can think about slowing the rotation of their hips down and giving ourselves an opportunity to attack the back, then we have a much better chance of stabilizing top position when we're behind our partner there. And also this situation here where we're trying to get our knee behind the elbow before we circle to the back. So hopefully that was helpful, and I'll catch you guys next time.